Kerry, real tough times. We're going to bite the bullet and talk about dairying.
Yeah, well, obviously the Fonterra announcement recently has been a devastating blow for all the dairy farmers out there, and we're now down into two groups of farmers. We've got your farmers that own the land, and we've got our share milkers, and they're both affected in different ways, and it's pretty damn serious out there. There's some very glum-looking fellas.
Dumb question, but if I was a farmer who owned the land and I had a share milker, I'd be saying, toodaloo, and I want to put some wheat in.
Yeah, we've got dairy farmers asking that question, but the reality is you've got to go and talk to your lawyer. You've entered into a contract with your share milker, and they need to look at the fine print of what's in there, because there could be some big consequences if you just go and terminate like that.
Yeah, but I don't want to go, as a landowner, I don't want to go halves and a $500,000 loss.
No, and that's a fair question, but it could be still sitting there. It depends on what the terms of your contract are. The lawyer's got to give you advice on that. It's not as simple as saying, right, you're off, I want to do something else. You've got to check out the legal implications first.
Yeah, no, very, very wise counsel. What are the options that you're looking at?
For our farmers that own the land and got the shares in Fonterra, they've got the option of getting a 50% interest-free loan from Fonterra, and we recommend that people look at that closely. It means you get a bit of cash flow now. It is taking off future milk solid payments, but if you're a shareholder, it is a good sort of way of getting through.
You said 50 cent.
50 cents, yep.
So basically, they're forwarding to you 50 cents of the price of kgs.
So you're getting future payouts now to get you through this pain. So it's a good way of sort of easing the situation, especially if you're carrying high debt. You've got a bit of extra cash flow coming in just when you need it, and the banks are quite favourable towards it. And in fact, most of them are starting to encourage the landowners to actually get in there and take it on board.
Share milkers aren't shareholders.
No, and they miss out. So they're going to do it really tough. So they've got to go and start looking at what they've got on the farm. We're actually talking to some share milkers about culling cows, cutting back the number of cows they've got. The milk production will go down, but then also the costs of actually keeping those cows is going to go down. And the biggest one, of course, is feed. So a lot of them are buying in feed, and if you reduce your cost of that, well, at least you can get your overall cost of productions down. So yeah, looking at selling these cows at the moment.
It's a pretty cruel world, because the price of cattle have gone from about 2,000 to 1,000 and still falling.
Yeah, they have, but the beef price is looking okay at the moment. It's better to get rid of them, and rather than take big, huge losses.
Sell them as a burger, as a...
Well, basically, yeah. Yep, just send them off to the works. That's probably the best option for them. You get some instant cash flow, so at least your bank account looks a bit healthier for a while. But the biggest thing is that ongoing cost. You're actually reducing it in the long term. And when the payout comes out, you could start looking at getting the numbers back up. But for now, you've got to face that hard decision.
And it is a hard decision.
Yeah, a lot of them don't want to do it. We had one farmer, and he's actually in tears when we said to him, look, this is an option on the table. And the bank manager was backing us, and he said, yep, you've got to seriously consider getting rid of some cows. We want to have some cash flow. You can't afford to keep feeding them. And he was pretty devastated when that came out.
Is there anything else that the share milker can look at?
They've really got to look at efficiencies. So if they've got staff and they're not doing a lot of work themselves, they've got to get out there and do it themselves.
Put an apron on.
Yep, actually get out there and do the physical work. Even if it means longer hours, they've got to do anything right now to get those costs down. And so we're saying, look, if you've got staff, look at when you really need them, and if you need them at all. Some have put them on because they want a bit of an easy lifestyle, have the weekend off, whatever.
Well, they could afford it a few years ago.
But now they've got to look at it and say, well, look, we just can't afford it. I've got to get out there and do more. It's as simple as that.
Now, you've always advocated, Kerry, talk to your accountant, talk to your bank manager, and invariably both at the same time?
Yes, we're actually moving from a lot of our farmers to a monthly forecasting of cash flows down to fortnightly, and a couple of actually want to start looking at weekly, because they want to keep a tight rein on what they're spending and where they're heading. And the banks, they want to see that your accountant and you are actually sitting down, doing something and actually looking ahead, not just sort of saying, oh, this is pretty glum, I'll just try and carry on as I am. The banks are hanging in there right now, and they will hang in there for a while, but if you're not taking any action, they will start just sort of putting the pressure on.
IRD able to help at this stage?
Not at this stage, no. It's not a big adverse event, anything like that. You can obviously go and say to them, look, last year I had tax to pay, this year I'm not going to have it, and so you can ease them from that point of view. You can still do instalment arrangements, but that's about it. There's not a lot more they can do. Because
obviously the return this year is going to be very, very low compared to last year, so provisional tax is going to be quite crippling.
Yeah, and that's where you've got to go and say to them, look, do your forecast with your accountant, say my profit's going to be down, put your estimate in.
You're going to be losing money.
Yeah, there will be a loss, so get rid of that right now. But the key is to get your books in as well. You know, the dairy season only ended a couple of months ago, and a lot of farmers haven't turned up yet at the end of your books. Get those and get a point of where you know where you're at, and then go to IRD and start talking to them.
Lawyers will be getting phone calls from share milkers saying, I can't handle this anymore, I'm out of here. And
yes.
that comes back to that contract business.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And in fact, we know up north, one share milker actually pulled the pin on his business and put it into liquidation a couple of weeks ago before this latest announcement. So he knew the writing was on the wall, and he went out owing $130,000. So the lawyers are getting a lot of calls about what happens if I go into liquidation. So we, you know, can I pull the pin? What does it mean in terms of what I owe? What about the contract with the landowner, etc. So there's, yeah, big questions out there for lawyers and accountants.
And of course you can't generalise, that's on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, you've got to sit down and actually look at each agreement because they are all different. There's some where they are very similar, but then you get one little clause that tips it over and makes it a different scenario. So yeah, it's not a case of ringing up and saying, oh, I think I've got this in my agreement. You actually got to get it out, read it, and then talk to your lawyer. And
I think you take it to your lawyer.
Yep.
You don't read it yourself.
No, you got to understand it yourself as well, though. But yeah, then take it in and sit down and actually go through clause by clause exactly what it means and what your obligations are.
And then say to the lawyers, I guess, I mean, I'm talking about legal and you're here as an accountant,
Yep.
but, you know, sort of say, well, if we get both of us in the same table, can we make in some sort of an agreement?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, and the lawyer will be sort of your starting point if you want to redo the contract or get out of it. You really do need to talk to them first, and then talk to the accountant as well, because there could be some implications there from getting out that you may not be aware of. So it's really a case of getting everybody together around the table and nutting it out.
Exactly. So really, there is no light at the tunnel at this stage.
Not at this stage. Long term, things probably are going to get better, but in the short term, it is really a case of knuckling down, cutting costs, getting cash flow really tight, and trying to maximise what you can.
I mean, if you're too young, but in the late 80s, we had sheep farmers who were paying 20% interest, and they were getting $12 a head for lamb, and they've come through it.
Yes, yeah, and the good thing for our dairy farmers is that interest rates are low right now.
Yeah,
so
and the dollar's looking good.
Yeah, yeah. So they have got some sort of leeway there. You know, if the interest rates are on their way up and we're facing this, then there'd be some really tough times out there, and farmers probably would be looking at getting out and selling up.
Because it's amazing how resilient farmers can be.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're getting in there and doing it, but it's pretty hard, and it really, a lot of them are at the mercy of the bank. You know, they might get through this season, but next season, if it's not much better, some banks will actually start saying, well, I think you need to get out, especially if they've got, you know, low equity in that farm.
Kerry, thank you very much indeed.